Biodiversity is the diverse life forms in the universe. Man is one among them. Human beings draw benefits from the biodiversity of this world. In fact, we are the custodians of nature and natural resources for future generation. The place which received maximum rainfall in the world was Cherrapunji during 1970s. Cherrapunji received 24.5 meter rainfall during the year 1974, and it received 11.5 meter one day in 1972. This area was with the hills, mountains and forest. And now the forest and hills and mountains of Cherrapunji is devastated for the mining of iron ore, chalk and coal. Now, Cherrapunji is not the place which has the highest rainfall. It is Mauzinram of Meghalaya, India, receive highest rainfall in the world. In Cherrapunji, no agriculture is possible due to the lack of water. And there is shortage of drinking water in Cherrapunji. This is a classic example for the overexploitation of nature and natural resources in a small particular place. In 2019, Amazon forest faced 80,000 fires in different places. The forest is spread in Brazil, Bolivia, Ecuador, Colombia, Peru, Venezuela, Suriname and French Guiana. But 60% of the forest is spread in Brazil. This forest is responsible for the removal of 86 million tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. It has a role in reducing climate change phenomena and responsible for 50% of the rainfall in that area. There are 400 million trees in this forest. It records 10% of the world's biodiversity. 30 million people directly use shelter of Amazon forest. There are variety of peculiar type of animals and plants in this forest. Endangered Rafflesia, which shows the largest flower. Green anaconda, jaguar, red capuchin monkeys, puma, electric eel, pink river dolphins, venomous frogs, transparent frogs, venomous spiders, black crocodile, and 350 different types of aborigine tribals. This unique ecosystem is now facing the threat of man-made fire. And this fire is for making highways, more water transportation, timber export, animal poaching, and to extend the soybean and cereal cultivation. This may be the most recent dangerous threat to the biodiversity in the world. Usually people ask, what happens when a small creature disappears from the world? We can see what happens in Malaysia when a small creature, a small bat, faced threat to their life. 1970s. In 1970s, the durian export of Malaysia collapsed. And it collapsed the economy of Malaysia during 1970s. Malaysian economy was based on the export of durian fruits. And in durian fruits, in that plant, pollination takes place. by the bats. When there is a reduction in the number of bats, that is the pollinator, there was reduction in the fruit setting. And that is the reason why the export of the durian collapsed. What was the reason for the threat to these bats? In fact, the habitat of these small bats was the coastal area mangroves. But the coastal area mangroves were removed for the cultivation of prawns. They lost their habitat, actual habitat. Then they moved to a nearby limestone hill where they reside in small holes. Malaysian government decided to establish a cement factory using the limestone from these small hills, which was a tragic end to the life of these small bats. And hence, the pollinators of the durian lost, which led to the collapse of the economy of a country. Disappearance of a very small creature. Now pollinators such as bees, butterflies, beetles, birds, bats and ants are under threat. 1 billion species of organisms are facing the threat of extinction. There is 577 billion US dollar loss for cereal production per year in the world due to the lack of pollinators alone. 5.9 million organisms in the land lost their habitat. 350 million hectares of land degraded. 350 million means the size of India. 2 billion hectares of forest deforested. And now you just imagine the nature of origin of microorganisms causing diseases in the human beings in the recent years. South Asian Respiratory Syndrome SARS virus jumped from bats to civets, then to man. Middle East Respiratory Syndrome MERS jumped from bats to camels, then to man. Coronavirus pangolin from pangolin. Ebola through the bushmeat, and Nipah virus through fruit-eating bats to man. Most important point is these organisms are now frequently visiting human inhabitants due to the loss of their habitats. Another classic example is the appearance of locust during the last summer in North India. And scientists says the locusts are a type of grasshoppers. That locust attack to the agricultural field was due to the climate change. Due to climate change, Sahara Desert in Africa received unexpected rains. Then there was a growth of wheat plants in the sandy deserts. There the locust laid eggs and their larvae feed on the leaves and stem of these weeds newly germinated. Stem of these weeds within no time the wheat plants exhausted. These locusts eat one day food for 35,000 people. If we count the locust in 1 square kilometer distance, when they move in the sky, the number will be 40 million. From Sahara, some of them moved to Somalia, Ethiopia, then Kenya. Others fly across the Red Sea and reached Yemen, then to Saudi Arabia, then to Pakistan, and from Pakistan they came to India through Rajasthan. Now they spread in Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and emptied 50,000 hectares of agricultural land. In fact, sparrows were the predators of locusts. But the sparrows are facing survival threats due to various reasons. It is clear that man is not a super creation. He is also creation among millions of other creatures. For the sake of development, if we alter the ecosystems of the nature, it definitely rebounds on the life of human beings without delay. No biodiversity can save you from the newly formed diseases through medicines. Biodiversity is giving food, shelter, employment, health, and water to human beings. It is high time to recognize this fact, and we should take necessary steps to conserve biodiversity.